freaking first cut. Golly.
Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your halfway home episode, round 2 recap for this week's WM Phoenix Open. Joining me to break it all down, Greg DuCharme is here. Hello, Greg.
Rick, great to be here. Been an exciting opening couple rounds here at the WM Phoenix Open. I love watching this golf course. I just think it's a great venue for PGA Tour golf, and so far many of the players have delivered.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. Not only that has happened today, but is happening right now as we are live. Luke Clanton will have a putt on 18 for a tour card, and that young man looks nervous. He is breathing heavy. He hit a pretty good shot into 18. He's probably got 15 feet or so, but my goodness, his heart is bumping out of his chest, Greg.
Shouldn't it be?
Yes.
I mean, shouldn't it be? That's the beauty of it. That's why we love sports. It's why we love golf, and not for nothing, Rick. It's why we love the cut line.
Yeah. And also getting some heartbeats up earlier today. They did it. Somebody made an ace on 16 for the first time since 2022. That man was Emiliano Grillo. And Greg, he did it the way that you do it in Nerf basketball. He dunked it home.
It never even touched the surface of the green. That was incredible. I mean, you don't get that kind of view, that kind of camera work very often. But you could see the ball go straight into the hole and kind of rattle around in there a little bit. Normally it goes straight in, it just disappears.
No.
You could see this thing tried to rim out. It was awesome.
It did like 8 360s, and on 4 of them, it was halfway out.
Another cool thing about that. Now, I wondered, the Thunderbirds,
yes,
and the WM Phoenix Open have some more strict policies. No, they're not unreasonably strict. You know, they're kind of like anywhere else you go in the world, anywhere else you go in the country. It's kind of like you got to follow those rules.
Right.
And they said any throwing will get you thrown out. Now, I was very concerned with a rule like that. What happens in the Coliseum if everybody is throwing something out onto the surface? You're going to empty the place?
Right.
So some people threw some cups, and there was a couple things thrown, and it stopped so much quicker this year.
It did.
There were hands up, everybody. So it was still fun. Everybody had a blast. Everybody was going nuts, and they still kind of kept it under control. So I think so far they're doing a much better job.
I actually think so the change that they made, which helps a lot in this scenario, is they used to have those really cold, I guess they're like aluminum bottles that they would give out, which, you know, they're that material that like keep your hand way too cold. Throwing those was like throwing a rock.
And denting the greens.
Correct. It would dent the greens, that you could throw them very far, all that stuff. Now it looks like they're all in plastic cups. So when you throw a plastic cup, the liquid comes out of it in the first 3 feet, and the cup just kind of trickles down to the ground, which does not impact. You can't throw it as far. It is not going to damage basically anything. So, and it makes the cleanup a lot easier. So that I noticed that as a massive change for this time.
Yes, and I think they did that after the Sam Ryder hole-in-one.
I think so too.
That was the one
that. Do you remember that one that almost smacked him in the head from the upper deck?
Yes, it might have been a water bottle.
It was,
and then there was a dent in the green, and Cantlay's ball hit it, and he was in the mix. It got pretty. It went a little too far, I think it's safe to say. And I think they've done a really nice job so far this year of calming it down, and it hasn't taken away any of the fun. So I was a little worried about that. It happened. It started to happen, and then they were kind of like, "Hey, stop!" There were people there actually monitoring it, and they stopped it. So I thought that was pretty good.
I have an update, Greg. Luke Clanton just hit his birdie putt on 18. He missed it on the left-hand side. He is going to tap in for par. He has hands over his face. Obviously knew exactly where he stood. The PGA Tour card will have to wait until another day, but based on the talent, what he has done through his first 12-ish PGA Tour starts, it will be a short time before that card is in his back pocket.
Yes, that's very fair to say. And yesterday he had a tough round, I would say. But even when he misses the cut, he gets himself pretty darn close to that cut line. He's a baller. And you're right, Rick. One way or another, he's going to have that tour card by the end of this season. By the time he's a professional, I think his first professional start will be on the PGA Tour. So just a matter of time for Luke Clanton.
Let's get you up to date, because we've got to get you up to date on some round 1 stuff, some round 2 stuff, and some round 1 and 2 stuff. So I'm going to try to do my best to get you everywhere. And we're going to start with Wyndham Clark, Greg, who was shot out of a cannon on Thursday. He went nuts, 7 under 64, bogey free. He had he had one stretch of 4 birdies in a row and sprinkled in the 3 others along the way. 64, 73 on Friday in easier scoring conditions. This is kind of the MO for Wyndham Clark. In round 1, he hit a bunch of approaches close and made every single putt. And in round 2, didn't do much of either and put a lot more squares on the card.
Well, round 2, Rick, really came from some wild tee shots. And I would look at this round and blame the driver. He only hit 4 of 14 fairways. He didn't really have a whole lot of opportunities to hit it close. He hit some quality iron shots when he did get it in play. And sometimes it was after a chip out. But unfortunately, his back was against the ropes, right from the beginning in this round. And it made things very difficult. It made it very difficult for him to play on the front foot, as Paul McGinley would say. So that was unfortunate. But it does speak to the MO of Wyndham Clark. If he can get the ball in play off the tee, generally, he's going to give himself a lot of birdie opportunities, but he gets a little wild at times, and this is kind of what you have to deal with. Now, he's a very good scrambler, and he can handle rough, but when you start hitting it into the desert the way he did, that's when Wyndham, anybody's really, maybe there are a couple exceptions. I think one of them we'll get to later on in the show, but you're pretty much in big trouble if you're hitting it in the desert.
Yeah, so Wyndham Clark still going to make the weekend. He's inside the top 30 right now. He's 5 under par for the tournament. The leader is at 12 under, so he'll be around for the weekend. He'll get 2 more cracks at TPC Scottsdale to see if he can put something together. Taylor Moore, another American who is currently inside the top 10 for Moore, and he is starting, Greg, to slowly get this game back into shape. We talked about 2024 for him not being a particularly good year. We have seen advances in his game that have led to a T7 at the American Express. He made the cut at the Farmers, and then he finished T22 at Pebble Beach, and now he opens up with rounds of 65 and 69. He's doing nothing spectacular, but he is gaining strokes throughout the bag through the halfway point.
Well, it's been really solid. And Rick, this is the kind of thing when we talk about how good he is, how we kind of expect more from him. No pun intended. This is the kind of thing that we're talking about. And what he's done so far in this tournament, especially in the second round, is when he's gotten wedges in his hand, he's hit them close. And when he's been a little farther away, he's hit it into a good position where he can make a par and avoid mistakes. I know he made 3 bogeys today. One of them, he hit it in the water on number 17. But ultimately, he kept the ball in front of him. When he was inside of 130 yards, he gave himself a really good look. And on some of those longer approach shots, he was really smart and hit it at the center of the green or the wide side.
The number for Taylor Moore is 8 under par, 6 under on Thursday and 2 under on Friday gets him to 8 under. That is how math works. How about this name, Greg? How about a name that we haven't seen at this point of the leaderboard in a long time? That's Daniel Berger I'm referring to, opening up with 68 and 66. He was actually even deeper under par. He got to double digits under par before bogeying 16 and 18 today in the second round. But just like Taylor Moore, it is currently a tie for sixth for Daniel Berger. And I want to point something out to you here in this stat profile. Top 10 off the tee, top 10 on approach, top 10 around the green. He has punted away over 2 strokes on the putting surfaces this week. Daniel Berger looking to contend for the first time in a long time.
Yes, and he has a pretty good record here. I think he's had some pretty good finishes here.
Yeah, he does. It's been like 3 years since he's played here, and they go back like 6 years or something like that. It's something weird like that, but they're good finishes.
So it's not a surprise if you assume that he's healthy and getting back into Daniel Berger kind of golf, which I think it's pretty clear that he is. You know, he has been extremely accurate off the tee, tied for first in fairways hit 12 in round 1, hit 10 in round 2. But what was so impressive today, Rick, he just was firing at flag sticks. I mean, everything like I talked about with Taylor Moore, everything with the wedges. When he got short clubs in his hands, he was hitting them close. Well, Daniel Berger was hitting him close from all over the place. We're talking about 12 approach shots inside of 15 feet. And there was just one of those was 15 feet. I mean, you're talking about 9 approach shots inside of 10 feet. This was an incredible performance from him with his irons. And that's why he led the field in strokes gained approach in round 2, gaining 3.6 strokes. So really, really impressive stuff. A couple of unfortunate hiccups coming down the stretch. He left one in the bunker on number 16, made a bogey there. The fans weren't happy about that. But at least he got the second one up and down, and then missed a shorty on number 18. But yeah, Daniel Berger looking prime right now.
Yeah, Josh points out to me that he has four separate top 11 finishes between 2015 and 2020. So that is the range that we were talking about there. Let's talk about the number 1 player in the world, Scottie Scheffler, because this has been a very interesting 2 rounds for him. Let's go back to the opening round. His opening 9, he bogeys the first hole, bogeys the 5th hole, bogeys the 9th hole, and he turns in 2 over. He then holes out from a fairway bunker on 10 for eagle. He doubles 12, incredibly rare, and he eagles 15, the par 5. You add up everything that he did in the opening round, Greg, it was a 69. He still led the field in strokes gained approach. But what were your feelings after a very erratic first 18 holes, something we haven't seen out of Scottie Scheffler, the most consistent golfer in a long time?
Well, a couple different ways to look at it. And I could really, I don't know. I was thinking about this last night. I don't know which side I fall on. In one case, it's like, I can't believe he shot 2 under after that performance. You know, he hit one in the water at 12 where he made double and still should have made 4. He should have made bogey there. Misses a short putt, ends up making double. It's like, okay, that's uncharacteristic. He shanks one out of a bunker.
That's right.
That led to another bogey, and he bogeyed the first hole. So it was kind of sloppy in that regard. He didn't drive it hit a couple of loose drives. He still hit 10 fairways. I mean, it was still pretty darn good. And I think he was second in approach in round 1, as I have it anyway, but still gained 3.5 strokes. So it's like, okay, how did he get 2 under out of that round? Then on the other hand, it's like, well, he made 2 eagles. Scottie Scheffler made 2 eagles in 1 round and only shot 2 under. But all in all, I think that you look at the eagle at 10, that's unlikely, but it's not unlikely that he makes birdie from there. I think it was 104 yards. Eagle at, what was it, at 13 or at 15? That was kind of a traditional shot for him. You know, not that uncharacteristic. So all in all, I was like, okay, but I think he can clean up those mistakes. I don't think he's going to start shanking bunker shots. And I think he's going to avoid penalty areas the rest of the way. And what do we get in round 2? Yeah. We get a bogey-free 66. Yeah. Just firing it the way that Scottie does. He's hitting it at flags. He's missing 15-footers all over the place. and he ends up finishing at 5 under.
So there was a very early missed cut worry for Scottie Scheffler. He turns in 2 over on Thursday. We are a long way from that because the 5 under round that Greg mentioned, 66, adds to the 69. He is 7 under, Greg. He's in a tie for 11th, and now it feels like he's just doing the Scottie thing, where he has kept his head above water. He has kept himself in position, and now he's going to get 2 more rounds at a golf course that he's won twice, nearly won at 3 times, and will probably be more baked out and more difficult the rest of the way.
And you look at the leaders, right? He's at 7 under, so he's 5 off the lead right now. And this group of leaders that I know we'll talk about, not necessarily the strongest of finishers. You have a couple of really good players up there, obviously, but they're not guys that would be immune to a Scottie Scheffler charge. You could see them kind of fading away. There's some really good players ahead of him, in a group ahead of them, but they're only 1 or 2 shots ahead. So this is a leaderboard that's setting up really nicely for a Scottie Scheffler slow marching comeback over, I'll call it the final 3 rounds if you include today's 66.
Yeah.
So Scottie looked a lot more like Scottie today, and I still think there's a lot more he could squeeze out of it.
Here's what I know. He's going to be a part of the winning storyline. I don't know if he's going to do it, but he is going to be a part of it because we have seen this play out nearly every week for the last 2 years. So
yes,
I think it's safe to say he's going to be a part of that story on Sunday afternoon. I want to get to the notables and the names that are between Scottie and the top of the board. We've got a lot to get to, but first we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners.
Gives it to Jenkins for the championship. A 16 beats a 1. From sweet to elite to the Final Four.
And we're back. There are some names brewing. Just finishing up his second round was Justin Thomas, who got them roaring at 16, made birdie there. It was one of his 4 birdies in the second round to go along with the birdies that got him to 5 under in the opening round. So it's 8 under for the tournament. And Justin Thomas, I think, Greg, is truly starting to feel himself, truly starting to feel quite confident in the state of his game.
This is a really strong finish to his round. 3 birdies from 13 on, 13, 16, and 18, which really saves kind of a pedestrian day. He wasn't necessarily hitting it close. If he did, he was missed a couple of 4, 6, 8 footers. I think it was one of each of those during this round. But fortunately able to keep the bogeys off the card for the most part, just the one at number 9. And things are definitely going in the right direction for Justin Thomas as he gets himself at 8 under par and is in a similar position to what you would say Scottie Scheffler is. I thought JT in this round hit a lot of really nice drives, which is a good sign. He did spray a couple, but for the most part, he had his driver under control. The golf swing looks really good. This looks like traditional Justin Thomas. You get frustrated with a couple short misses. You get frustrated with a couple errant tee shots, but all in all, that middle area of his game is really strong, and it leads to great finishes like we saw today.
Currently on a streak of 7 consecutive top 17 finishes at TPC Scottsdale. So he knows how to play here, and he's in very good position going into the weekend. That's 8 under par. Let's one up it. How about 9 under par? That's where Tom Kim sits. Tom Kim went afternoon, morning. So he's been hanging around for a while today on Friday and started on the back 9. He got 4 birdies in a row from 13 through 16. He would play the front 9 of the golf course, Greg, at 1 under. And now Tom Kim, who has probably been making more news for the wrong reasons, is in the mix, which is something we talked about this a lot on Monday. Like, he either misses the cut or he's in the mix. This looks like it's an in the mix situation.
Yes. Now come Sunday, that's going to bother me because of one of my group bets this week. But all in all, this performance has been really good. And I'll tell you something, Rick, the distance that he's gained off the tee has been really impressive. He had a couple of really long tee shots today, and that's no longer a problem for Tom Kim. It's opening up a lot more birdie opportunities for him, which I would say is going quite a long way. He's putting well. He's not making everything he's looking at, but he made more of those 15-footers than Scottie Scheffler did in this round. And they were playing alongside each other. And ultimately that was the difference because he hit it really solid. Hit 14 greens. He's in 9 fairways. He hit a drive 370 yards. Things are going really well for Tom Kim, and we'll leave all the other stuff out of this one and just marvel at his play because it has been impressive. He's been extremely accurate, and this profile definitely looks like a guy that's going to hang around.
Yeah, he's been right in the middle of when I've been as focused on golf as possible throughout the last 2 days, he's been on featured groups. So I feel like I've seen every single one of the shots that he's hit this week. And I agree. It's been solid. He's had some great up and downs for par when necessary. The putts that he has missed have been at least decent efforts. I like the way he's hitting it off the tee. There's a lot to like about the way this sets up moving forward. Right now, Greg, he's 3 shots off the lead, but he is just 1 shot out of second. We'll get to that in a second. Also at 9 under, but not officially. Yes, he is officially in at 9 under par is Jordan Spieth. And golf is just better when Jordan Spieth is in the mix. And he got himself in the mix within the last 90 minutes because he shot an opening 68. That's 3 under par. For 12 holes today, he made 1 birdie, number 2, and 11 pars. This was nothing to write home about. This was barely inside the cut line. You're getting to some dangerous holes with water. Who knows what Jordan Spieth is going to do? Well, what does Jordan Spieth do, Greg? He eagles 13. He eagles 15. He birdies 17 and cards a 6 under 65. And oh, mama, Jordan Spieth's going to have a late Saturday tee time.
Eagles go a long way. A lot of the guys that we've talked about near the top of this leaderboard, like Taylor Moore, like Scottie Scheffler, have multiple eagles so far in this championship. They go a long way. The other cool thing about Jordan Spieth's 2 rounds is he's only got 1 bogey, which has been rather uncommon, not just for Jordan, but for the other players on this leaderboard. Jordan is played, I thought, in this. There were a couple times he was playing around in the bushes, playing in the desert. I thought he was much cleaner in this second round. A lot of really nice drives. I saw him hit some beautiful controlled fades off the tee. He's got his mock backswing going on, which is great. Hit some phenomenal iron shots, especially the 2 eagles were, outside of 230 yards, he's hitting long irons in there close. Not magical chip ins or hole outs or anything like that, right? These are really solid long iron shots. It's a great sign for Jordan. It's a great sign for this tournament because things get really exciting when he's in the mix. One other thing to point out, Rick, he mentioned, this is so strange, like on his first hole back, he jams up his wrist.
I couldn't believe it.
Am I right? Did I mishear? Is that his first hole of?
I think it was his 10th hole, wasn't it?
Okay.
I think it was number 1, but don't quote me on that. But I think it was. I don't think it was the first hole, but it was in his first round back.
and so he jams up his wrist. It hurts, which he just had surgically repaired. Has taken 6 months off for.
Right.
And now he's trying to swing around it. Disaster. Right, that's disastrous. He makes a 9.
I'm trying to find the quote, but I think
keep looking. Yeah. I'll keep talking. He finally decides he's just going to play through it, And that's what he does on Sunday at Pebble and shoots 5 under and bogey free. Comes out, shoots 3 under 68, and then 6 under 65 in his next couple of rounds. It's a big deal. The question is something wrong? Like he's been, it's so hard for me to figure out because there's been something wrong with his wrist since he says the first time it happened was 2018. He won his last major in 2017. It happened sporadically and apparently is no big deal until last year. But I wonder, is that true?
I think we need to just install a don't ask, don't tell policy. Everyone stop asking him about this. I can't handle it. So stop asking him. He can stop giving us these ridiculous quotes and we can just move on with our lives. I can't handle Jordan Spieth narrating a 7-year history of the wrist stuff. I can't handle it.
It seems to change all the time.
Yeah, exactly. I can't.
It was 2 years ago. I was getting something out of a toaster oven. But then all of a sudden it happened in 2018 and it just happened gradually more and more and more. It doesn't hurt when I play golf, but I'm worried about it.
Right. Yeah. It's never hurt me while I play golf, but I'm scared of it every time I swing. I don't know. It's just
well, why'd you wait so long to get it fixed? All right. Well, so it clearly got bad enough to where we had to get it fixed. Now it's fixed. And then
but it's not fixed. It's not fixed though.
But then I just play through it and go shoot in the mid 60s. It's near impossible to figure out. I wish I didn't hear that and I could just say, hey, couple rounds of rust at Pebble Beach, one really good round, and now we're back. Because that's what it looks like right now.
Well,
if it weren't for his quotes.
It wouldn't be Jordan Spieth without the quotes and without everything. So yeah, he's our baby boy and he is back. He is back to giving us the great quotes and the great
go.
I've just set up a weekend in which Tom Kim, Jordan Spieth, Daniel Berger, Justin Thomas, Scottie Scheffler are all inside the top 12 and are going to have a chance to vie for this championship. However, there's a podium of golfers in the way. I'm unfortunately, we don't have time for Michael Kim and Alex Smalley. You play well again on Saturday. We will allocate the time. But the man at the top of the board is Thomas Detry. Rounds of 66 and 64. That 64, of course, today was highlighted by 3, 6, 8 birdies, just one blemish on the card. He's been playing a little bit better golf as of late, Greg, but I don't think that there were many indications that this was going to be Detry with a multiple shot lead heading into the weekend type of week.
No, probably more indications of Alex Smalley playing really well.
Yeah.
We talked about him on Monday.
You've been identifying the Smalley stuff for weeks.
It's been great. But it hasn't been the case for Detry, but I'm not sure he missed a shot today. He had a couple of loose tee shots, but every iron shot he hit was coming down right on the flag. Now, some of them landed near the flag and released out, and, he missed a couple of distances, but I mean, it must have been 12 iron shots he hit that came down right on the flag. Even the tee shot on 17, which ends up short of the green, nearly in the water, was right on line with the flag. This must have been, from his vantage point, one of the prettiest rounds of golf you could ever see, because it just every single shot had radar for the flag stick, and he hit all 18 greens of regulation. He gains 2 strokes putting. He makes 132 feet of putts. And how is that possible if everything's at the flag? Well, the greens are really firm, and so it's kind of, he came up short a couple times, went long a couple times, but boy, the lines he was taking was spot on. So with a golf swing like his, he doesn't traditionally hit it like this, but boy, this second round was an absolute stripe show. And by the way, the first round wasn't all that bad either, Rick. He hit 17 greens. He's missed 1 green so far in 36 holes. And these greens are firm, really firm. So it's been extremely impressive from Thomas Detry.
How about this? Thomas Detry has been a professional for nearly 10 years. He has 0 PGA Tour wins. He has 0 DP World Tour wins. The only 2 trophies that sit at home, well, probably not true, but that have made it onto his Wikipedia page, are a Challenge Tour win from 2016 that he won by 12 strokes over Tristan Lawrence, by the way.
Oh,
small world. And he has a team victory in 2018 with Thomas Pieters at the ISPS Handa Melbourne World Cup of Golf. So a challenge win and a team win are the only trophies that he has. This would be obviously, needless to say, by far the biggest win of his career.
Yes, and he's certainly capable of that. But I don't think the reason there aren't more is because of his ability. But we've seen Thomas Detry get himself in the mix a couple of times on the PGA Tour. Unfortunately, it's just not on Sunday. There seems to be sometimes when he gets near that leaderboard on Saturday. I think of the Farmers Insurance Open last year. A little issue on 17, hit it in the water, got very frustrated and kind of ejected from that tournament. That happens from time to time with Thomas Detry. Unfortunately, it happens when he gets in the mix. So is he going to be able to jump that hurdle and keep playing golf the way he's playing right now? Because he looks free. It looks effortless. It's a thing of beauty to watch. But what happens when it gets a little ugly, right? When the ball on 17 doesn't stay just short of the water, just miss the water, it goes in the water. But what are you going to do then? What are you going to do when you make your first mistake? This is like if I'm talking to Thomas Detry tonight, it's, hey, listen, this has been really pretty. You haven't been hit in the face yet. What are you going to do when you get punched in the face? Like Mike Tyson says, everybody's got a plan until they get punched, and you got to be ready for it. Is he equipped to handle it physically? 100%. But unfortunately, it's really difficult to get behind, to get in between those ears and see how he's going to handle it mentally. But I'm looking forward to watching it. I'll tell you that much.
Gets towards the top of the board, eyes get a little itchy, throat gets a little scratchy, nose starts to run a little bit, just has to keep those allergies in check. He is the leader going into the weekend. It's going to be 2 shots over everybody else. Again, Smalley and Michael Kim at 10 under, Tom Kim and Jordan Spieth both at 9, and a gaggle of golfers at 8, including Daniel Berger and Justin Thomas. And the Desert Fox, Adam Hadwin, wouldn't want to miss out on him. How about that? They're playing in the desert. The Desert Fox shows up. Our friends, the odds makers over at FanDuel, have, to probably little surprise, Scottie Scheffler is the favorite to win this golf tournament. So he is five back, Greg. He's 4-1, notably longer than he was before the tournament started, and halfway home. So just note that real quick. Thomas Detry, who's currently in the lead, right behind at 4.5-1. Tom Kim at 8, Justin Thomas at 9, Jordan Spieth at 10, and then a little bit of a gap to those other guys like Smalley and Michael Kim at 16. This is interesting, Greg. We are getting a short number on Scottie Scheffler, but not as short as before the tournament started. And because Scottie Scheffler is there, you're actually getting decent numbers on Justin Thomas, Daniel Berger, Jordan Spieth, Tom Kim, because of the presence of Scottie Scheffler. So this is probably one of the more interesting Friday night odds boards that we've seen in a while.
Yeah, I mean, look at Taylor Moore. I know he's 4 shots back, but he's at 33-1 right now. That guy's really good. What do we have on Spieth?
I see him at 10. But
10, yeah.
Yes, 10.
And Thomas is at 9. Jeez. I think either one of those guys could win this tournament. I think Justin Thomas could win this tournament. Definitely. I think Jordan Spieth could win this tournament. Like I said, I'm really impressed with the way Jordan has played. I don't think this has been a crazy, miraculous roller coaster couple of rounds. I mean, it's helped by some eagles, but like I said, those were just simply a really high quality golf shots.
Where
do you go? Because I go to Scottie.
Well, yeah, but I also think this is a unique situation that you've got legitimate like legit high upside talent that is being lengthened. I don't know. The odds are too long because Scottie exists 5 shots off the lead.
Is Tom Kim going to crack the door?
So I'm biased because I have a Tom Kim wager before the tournament, but I've really liked the way he's played this week. I've really liked it.
Yeah, but that's not biased because you like the way he played coming into the tournament.
He has
why you have a ticket on him.
Right. He has a 2-shot lead over Scottie. He is 3 back. I just think it's like, I mean, yes, I'm tempted to bet Scottie because he's longer than he was before the tournament started. And I just saw what he did, especially on that Friday round, which was crazy. But this is a very, I would benefit greatly in a lot of one and dones if Justin Thomas were to win this golf tournament. The driver, I'm terrified of the driver. I'm terrified of the putter. I'm terrified of a lot of things. I think I would just go Tom Kim again.
I think that's probably the play. I think Tom Kim, I really think you could take a shot on Taylor Moore at 33. A little sprinkle.
Let me look at his. He's been pretty good.
Yeah. 33-1. He's been pretty good all the way around. There's been nothing crazy. He's gaining all the way across the board. I mean, I just think that he's one of those guys that can handle this kind of situation. He's at 8. If he was at 9, I'd like it so much more. But it's one shot. So I'm Spieth. I think I like it more than Thomas. I think I like Tom Kim more than both of those guys at this point.
I want to amend my situation here. Daniel Berger. So he's losing 2 strokes putting. Daniel Berger's a very good putter. We have been trying to be like, let me remind you, Daniel Berger was a top 10 player in the world. Let me remind you. And do we think he will ever return to being a top 15 player? Maybe. If he does, could it start now? Are we in it now? He's 35-1. He's at 8 under. He has room to improve his stat profile, and he gave 2 strokes away today. He's straight vibes, Greg.
He's straight vibes. So Daniel Berger's at 8 under. He flagged it all day.
Yeah.
Flagged it. Oh, Rick, I don't know. This is as hard as it, because when you start getting to 8 and 7 under, you're talking 4 or 5 back. Who's going to make up that kind of ground?
What's the real
But
lead,
I don't trust.
9 under's the real lead.
9
Thomas Detry is not going to win. Alex Molly's not going to win. Michael Kim is not going to win.
Tom Kim and Jordan Spieth are tied for the lead.
Correct. So now Daniel Berger is 1 back.
But there still are guys. I mean, are the 6s in play? Is Denny McCarthy in play?
Are they going off 2 tees tomorrow?
Let's see if I can find that.
Because I would love if they just let this thing bake and you could get, and the late guys get it a shot harder.
I don't have tee times.
I don't think they're out yet.
Okay, if they are, let's say you just hang on for a second, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're not split tees. Everybody's going off 1. I bet you they're split tees.
I bet you they are too. They love split tees.
This time of year, you have to.
Yeah. All right. So let's assume they're split tees. No, I think the 6s are. The problem with the 6s is they are now behind Scottie Scheffler.
Yeah. All right. So I still like Scottie. I like Tom Kim more than Berger.
That's fair.
I like Spieth, and I don't like Thomas for a win. God, I'm spooked.
JT's gonna he's gonna make a ton of birdies this weekend. He's gonna hit like 2 balls in the water, and he's gonna finish T3. It's like I guarantee it.
Mini driver on 17, try to go at the flag or something.
Yep.
Yeah. So I guess it's Kim, Scheffler, Spieth.
Here's what I know: it is gonna be a blast because this golf course is perfect to just let these like 6 to 8 sickos get after it for the next 36 holes. This is going to be a lot of fun.
The best player in the world, the slowest player in the world who goes nuts, right? He could really mix it up with this crowd.
Yeah.
Jordan Spieth.
Oh, Jordan Spieth is the personification of the WM Phoenix Open.
Yes. Justin Thomas there to mix things up. And then you got Daniel Berger, who like people know.
I was gonna say, and then you've got Adam Schenk. But no, I was
gonna throw in the Desert Fox.
It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be so sick.
Yeah, we're in for a treat.
All right. Well, here's the good news. We will be back on Sunday night to let you know who won. We have no idea because that would be predicting the future, but we're gonna have a lot of fun watching it along the way. Big thanks to producer Josh. He does all the hard work behind the scenes. Greg DuCharme at The Real GFD. You can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut. We'll catch you next time.